Hello everyone, welcome back to Katie's Budgeting Life. I am Katie, and today we're just going to do more or less a video about me. Some people, I guess, requested me to do a video of like how I became to where I am and, you know, everything involving the kids' fathers. And so I thought I have a little bit of coloring to do. I have a little bit of money to stuff, and I might as well tell you guys about me. We're also just going to stuff, I think this is like $38. I'm not gonna lie, it was in my wallet and I don't know why. I don't think I put it aside for anything. I really don't know, but we got 38. So 10, 20, 25, 30, 31, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I also have a couple bigger bills that I might swap out. My mom gave me gave me the rent money early, and I just have a lot of 10s and 5s and 1s going on, so I might do a little bill swap too. So anyway, let me get started. So I am 31. I have 2 kids. One is my son. He is 12. He will be 13 next month. And then I have my daughter who is 4. She turned 4 in November, and they have different fathers. So basically, growing up, I'm not going to say I lived in a broken home, but my dad had multiple kids by multiple women. He was married to them, but, you know, there was 3, 4 of them. And basically, once my dad and my mom got together, my mom had 1 daughter from a previous marriage, and my dad had 5 kids from other relationships. They didn't want any more. They ended up having me. Welcome. So I'm the only one. Then they got divorced in 2009. No, 11, 12. I don't know. They were separated for a long time and then got divorced later on. So anyway, basically for me, I paid $1,000 from my, $100 from my last paycheck towards the attorney fee, just so you know. So anyway, I was a okay kid. I did really well in school. I never did bad on grades. Grades are always good. I just got into a lot of trouble, not in trouble. I just did not very good extracurricular activities. Let me just go with that. I got into the wrong crowd. But I did start working when I was like 15, 16. I always loved to make money. You know, I started paying for my cell phone. I got a cell phone when I could pay for it. I had a little bit rough. There was a couple like traumatic things that happened. I won't go into them just for privacy purposes, but some issues that, you know, gave me some issues that I had to get through. But I started working after I got past my rough issue. I really wanted to go into the military. So I ended up trying to get into a magnet school that had ROTC, and it was the Marines. By the way, I did pay off all my affirm, so I'm going to color that in. So to get in 9th grade, I made it. I was in ROTC. I absolutely loved it. I had done 3 years of it. It was literally, I lived and breathed it. Loved it. I was still working. I was working at a bowling alley at the time of I was going into my senior year. I guess I was 17, and I was working at a bowling alley, and I met this guy. He was not much older than me. I was 17. I think he was like 22, 23. I don't know. And I was with him. I don't know if you would call it a relationship, but lo and behold, he got me pregnant. I found out I was pregnant the first day of my senior year. I went to the guidance counselor, and it was funny because she was actually pregnant too. And we actually have kids that are like a month apart or something. But anyway, so basically my whole senior year I was pregnant. I did graduate. I did stay in ROTC, but I couldn't get promoted anymore. I couldn't really do much. I could only be on admin because I was not physically able to do anything. So basically, I did that, and I was still working. I was doing really good in school. I ended up having Mason in school. Well, not in school, but I was still in school. I was supposed to have him June 2nd. We were supposed to be like out of school by then or whatever for seniors. Well, he ended up coming April 24th. So I had him, because my grades were so good, all my teachers let me bring Mason into school to do my finals. And they watched him while I did my finals. He was 5 weeks old at my graduation. Mason's father wanted absolutely nothing to do with him. He wasn't supportive throughout the pregnancy. He wasn't there for the pregnancy. Or for the delivery. He's not on the birth certificate. Nothing. I did end up getting into a relationship with a kind of like a really good friend, and he was there with me through the pregnancy because we got close pretty quick. He was with me through the pregnancy, and then he was with me until Mason was almost 2. Couple months shy of 2. We were just very young. He was very young. He had a lot of growing up to do, and it just wasn't right. But he was very supportive at the time. So I had Mason, and I was just working 3 part-time jobs by myself, making it work. I really wanted to get into a house. My mom and I were at an apartment. I got a house. That's all we're going to do for the coloring, by the way. I bought my first house 3 days before I turned 20. That was my goal. I wanted to be a homeowner before I was 20. I would say about 6 months to a year after Mason was born, I was freaking out because I had 3 part-time jobs. I couldn't afford anything. I posted on Facebook just if anyone could help me out with a full-time job. And this guy that I knew ended up being a manager for a private ambulance company, and he got me a job, a full-time job there. And that's pretty much how I got into my first responders. I went from working at a private ambulance company. I went from a dispatcher to a call taker to a dispatcher to a supervisor. And then I was there for like 5 years. And then that is also where I met Phil, which is Ava's father. So I met Phil in 2013. Mason was like 8 months old to a year, which was right when I started. I was still with the other guy at the time, so I knew that Phil liked me, but I didn't entertain it. But I knew that Phil liked me. So, but basically we just kind of flirted for like 2 years, and then the guy that I was with and I broke up. And then I'm going to put $2 in Save Your Bucks just because I really want to. And then Phil and I started, hitting it off. Let's go with that. And that was in like 2014, I would say, 2014. And then from there, our private ambulance company wasn't doing very well. We were losing contracts and things like that. I'm going to put $5 in each of the kids' envelopes. So Phil actually jumped ship and went to another private ambulance company, but they were kind of like with 911 too. So they were doing really well. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Oh, that would be perfect. No, it's okay. And so basically he went over there. He was there for like 6 to 8 months or so. And then where's my pen? I had it. Hold on. Need to find my pen. Oh well. So basically, he told me to come over, and so he could get me the job there. So I got the job there. It was a pay raise. And I got the job there. I absolutely loved it there. I loved what I did. We basically worked directly with 911, but we were still a private ambulance company. I was a dispatcher. I also turned into a supervisor there right before I left. But I ended up, during that time, I guess when I was like 21, 22, I ended up getting into gambling as well. I, for some reason, just fell in love with it. I don't know what happened. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. I don't know what it was, but I just gained a love towards it. And basically, I built up a habit also. I was basically like working all day, getting Mason, taking care of him. Then I would go and gamble. And then I would make sure I was home in time to get him to school. And then I would just basically do everything over and over and over again. So I am going to put $10 in HOA because I think I'm behind on that. So with that, I mean, it wasn't like a full out addiction yet, but I was like, I could tell that I was becoming like, I really wanted to do it more and more and more. 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 110, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So anyway, just put that to the side. But anyway, I started to build my relationship with Phil, but we weren't like together. We were still just kind of doing whatever. And then I had a relationship in there, and I like stopped what I was doing with Phil, obviously, because I'm not a cheater. And that didn't work out, but Phil was still there for me right when I was done with that relationship. Phil ended up having a son during that time as well. I was supportive. I was there with him through that. And I was, whatever. So, and then basically I started to, we again started to get like a lot closer when both of us were single. We got really close, and he ended up jumping ship from the ambulance company that we were at and going to Amtrak. And, I did not have his help at all getting the job, but he told me Amtrak was a great place to work. So I applied to get into the police department there, and I got it. And that was all during COVID. I got the job October of 2020. So Christmas, I'm adding 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. And I ended up getting pregnant. It was a few months. Basically what happened was I started the job process before COVID and I wasn't pregnant, and then they put everything on hold, and during COVID I got pregnant, and then afterwards they asked me if I still wanted the job. So I actually started working at Amtrak, and I was like 33 weeks pregnant. I was there for like 4 weeks, and then I went on 2 months of maternity leave. So anyway, when I found out I was pregnant with Ava Girl, I told Phil, and he was a little reluctant in the beginning, but he came around. He was very supportive. We ended up building our relationship, and then I had Ava, and he ended up moving in, and he lived with me for a while. And then I started this YouTube channel. When was that? January of 2021? Or 2022. No, 2022. January 2022. I did it for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Because 23. I know, maybe it was 21. I don't remember. Either way, I was in it for almost 2 years. And I started to get very overwhelmed because Phil was jumping jumping around Amtrak, and his income kept changing and changing. We didn't really have a very good money set up here. Also, if you go back to my other channel, or you go back to when I first started, we were on a forbearance for our mortgage because he was furloughed and I wasn't really working because I was on maternity leave, but we had to pay that all back within a certain amount of time. So we were working on that. Our money was just all over the place. We were at a really good place, and then there were some bad decisions that were made. His job started to change. Child support got into it. There was a lot of things that happened. I ended up dipping into credit cards a lot. I was trying to just make it work. Things were really hard, and I was very overwhelmed, and I was honestly just very ashamed of what I was doing. And I, at that point, didn't feel like I should express that to you guys. I got overwhelmed. My grandfather wasn't doing well, and I left. It was hard. And then I also, if you see this, I was building a trampoline. Anyway, I cut myself. Anyway, So I left, and then also during that time, because I was getting so overwhelmed with my money, my gambling addiction like just took a big turn. It just became almost like I was relying on it to make more money, and it just became a full out mess. I was just taking out so much money of my credit cards, cash advances, everything just to try to make enough money. I felt like I wasn't getting much help because I was just trying to support what Phil was trying to do. I'm not blaming anything on Phil, and please understand that. But I did get into some very tough situations that really impacted my mental health, my financial health, everything. And basically, it just got to a point where I was like, I'm literally hitting rock bottom. Like, this was between both YouTube channels, me ending and then starting. I hit rock bottom. I realized how bad I got with everything, and Phil and our relationship wasn't going well. I'm not going to say why. All I'm going to say is it just wasn't working. There was a lot of things going on, and it became a point where I felt that it was better if we were not together anymore. I really don't want to go into detail on it because it's still pretty fresh and I'm still pretty emotional about it. But he ended up moving out. I ended up stopping like all credit cards. I stopped everything. What am I doing? I need to start registration. No, let me not do that. Yeah, I need to start registration because that's going to be due in July. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's put $5 into registration. Because I'm going to need 120 by July. So anyway, he moved out in September, and basically we had to figure out like the child support. We had to figure out everything. Also, by the way, Mason's father has been paying me consistently since Mason was like 3. There's been no issues. He pays me it's out of court. Everything is just very cordial. There's no issues, but he just doesn't have a relationship with Mason. So anyway, basically that was when my whole world just kind of flipped upside down, but it was also kind of like a new start. However, once I stopped doing everything, I was not able to pay things because I was so far into debt. I just had to pay the most important things, and eventually all kinds of things started coming up, like popping up. Basically, like I got sued twice from from credit card companies, and basically I just couldn't do it anymore, and that's when I hit the decision to file bankruptcy. I've made bad decisions. I've put myself out there for men. I've made bad decisions. I'm not gonna say that everyone's been in my shoes and they've made bad decisions because I don't know, but all I'm saying is like I definitely put love first and not my financial health and my mental health. And I'm not saying I don't love Phil because I love him with all my heart. I still love him with all my heart. There's just a lot of things that I would have changed, and I definitely would have put myself first for. I feel as though I built this like gambling addiction to try to help, like, because I felt like I didn't make enough money and I felt like I didn't do enough. Basically it was bad. Things got really bad, like just with everything, but Phil has always been there for Ava. Phil is a great dad to her. He's around, like he has been there. When he lived with me, like he was a great dad. We bonded so well during that time when he was furloughed and I wasn't working from being on maternity leave. We built such a connection, and unfortunately, things happen and we don't have that connection anymore, but things change. And it was a level of like, I had to do this. I have to be on, I had to let him go, and, I now am holding it down as I'm not going to say a single mom because Phil is there, but he's not like, he's just there when he can be, like, you know what I mean? I'm the day in, day out stable parent, and it's a lot. Like, I feel very overwhelmed sometimes. I feel like I'm never doing enough. I feel like a failure as a mom sometimes. I feel like there's so much more I could do, but I'm doing the best I can. And this wasn't supposed to be an emotional video, but just know that I am like trying to make good decisions now. You know, I have the amazing support of you guys. I still am being a stable parent for my kids. They know that they have me. I don't know why I'm folding this. Probably just to put it in and save the bucks. If you guys have followed me this far, you obviously care about me. So thank you. But just things, I'm trying to deal with my own feelings and emotions with this breakup and, you know, my life, and then trying to put a smile on for my kids is an extremely hard thing to do. And I'm doing the best I can. Like, it's one day at a time. Hopefully things get easier, you know, but right now it is getting easier, but I'm emotionally just drained right now, but I feel like I have a positive, like, future. I feel like I'm making really good decisions. I have not gambled in like 4 or 5 months. You know, like March Madness is here. I haven't gambled at all. I don't plan on gambling. I don't want to gamble. I know that I have a very addictive personality and I just can't do it at all. Because, you know, it's like one of those things where if you get like, with me, if I get like one taste of something and I like it, that's all I want. You know, so I know that I can't even do it like at all. But I feel like I definitely helped, like that definitely helped. I got like this app, like this Gamblers Anonymous app that I was doing to help me. It's little victories, you know what I mean? When I'm putting the money that I get towards the right things, it's just a real positive thing. And I want to instill that in the kids, you know, and you learn from your mistakes. And that's what I'm doing. I'm learning from my mistakes. I will say that I don't have any love for Mason's father at all, but I will say that I have a ton of love for Ava's father. And it's still very just hard for me. But, you know, whenever I look in Ava Girl's eyes, all I do is just like see how much love I have for him and the love that we have when we created her. So anyway, but I'm here. I hope that answered some of your guys' questions. The gambling addiction really just started when I turned 21 and I just got a taste of it and I just fell in love with it. That's all that is. So anywho, I really didn't do much coloring and I didn't do any allocating, but I hope you guys learned a little bit about me. If you have any questions, you can 100% put it in the comments and I'll answer it for you. I'm really trying to be an open book. The only thing I'm not going to do is talk about my trauma from when I was a child because I don't want that to be put out. That's a very private thing for me. So anyway, I hope you guys learned a little bit about me. I am a happy person. I promise I'm a happy person. There's just little details that just really get me. So I hope you guys learned. Oh, and another thing, I am monetized. Thank you all. I am officially monetized. So anyway, Mason's walking in now because it's almost time for us to go pick up Ava Girl. But anyway, thank you guys. Mason, say hi. Huh? I'm doing a video. Say hi. Hi. Who are we on the phone with? Blake. Oh my gosh. Okay, you can go. Bye. Bye. Love you. Love you too. Alright, so that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much. My next video will definitely be more uplifting, but I wanted you guys to hear my story. Thank you guys. Oh, and by the way, when Ava, right before, August of 2020 was when I bought this house. This is the second house that I've bought, by the way. My mom also is on this house as well because I didn't have enough income. So anyway, just a little tidbit. So anyway, thank you guys so much, and until the next video. Bye-bye.